Okay, here we are. Friday night research and ramblings. How is everyone doing? Looks like we already got 7 people, 3 likes. Make sure if you're here, you're hitting that like button. Helps the channel out a lot. Hope everyone's had a good week. I know it's definitely been an interesting one here. Got a lot of interesting stuff done. Helped a few people out with some issues. It's been an exciting week. Lots of rainstorms. We even had a hurricane, I think, since last time I saw y'all. All right. Malango, welcome. Halloween, welcome. Bernaldus, welcome. Good to see you all in here tonight. Cara, welcome. Good to see you again, too. Nice to see everyone up in here. Mysterious, welcome. Good to see you. And there's Peachy. Peachy has made it. Welcome, Peachy, as well. Clearly, you all were looking forward to the stream tonight. It's always good to see how many people file in here so quickly. For me this week, I've actually been spending a lot of time. Oh, roses. Hey. Most of my private research this week has been actually looking back at my journals and going over the things that have manifested, have come to completion, figuring out if there's anything that didn't work out the way I wanted it to that I need to play around with. And anything that I was working through with evocation, I always like to go back and evoke and thank the entities, even though I usually thank them ahead of time before it ever manifests too. But I guess it's a Southern thing. I just can't help but send a thank you note. Hey, Dennis, welcome, man. How am I feeling after? Oh, God. I'm doing pretty good. I really am. Surprisingly so. We are still finding a few electronics that are dead. Like I was actually going to trim my goatee up before the stream. Found out my beard trimmer died. So we're still finding a few items like that, but doing good, doing good. Mathilda, welcome. Jesse, good evening. Good to see you too. So yeah, for me, I've been doing some evocation this week, catching up with some entities that I have been working with. Azazel being one of them. A few dragons that we've had some projects going that are manifesting. I also spent quite a bit of time actually working with the Summer Queen and talking with her and just trying to build that relationship with her up because I'm wanting to get to know her a bit better before I really dive into trying to do a path working with her and for her. And I just realized my collar is all jacked up here, people. Not exactly going for an Elvis look here, so let's fix that. Bernaldus, that would not be a bad deal. Now, I have looked in the mirror. I know that my collar has not been popped for days. Oh, wait, no, that's a saying. I see what you're saying there, Howling. Now, I'm not a popped collar kind of guy. So why did it... we actually got hit by lightning here. Now, it's a little unsure whether it came in through an electrical outlet or through a window. But we did get hit by lightning. In fact, I actually took a bit of the shock myself. It melted my headphones even. So I got to get new headphones. Andrew, welcome. Elizabeth, welcome. Good to see both of y'all. So we're not sure the source, where it came in, any of that stuff. I just count my stars lucky. I mean, it's not my first dance with lightning, though. Honestly, I think the multiverse could lay off. I think I've had enough lightning, indirects, directs, all that crap. Had enough. Find someone else to bug. Um, on the upside, though, the computer's fine, so I was able to do the streams. It did kill our modem. So I was actually spent most of yesterday actually trying to run down a new modem so that we could be streaming today. So that was fun. Luckily, we was able to get the modem replaced quickly because there'd have been no stream without the modem. So yay for that. Luckily, my internet service is really good about stuff like that. So that was good news. And I'm actually got to say, I've been my work with Tatiana. We're starting to get along. We really are. We're starting to at least get a feel for each other and where we stand on certain things. So I'm actually kind of really looking forward to working more with her now that some of that abrasiveness is off. Whoa, Dennis, my man. Appreciate it. Oh, wow, dude. I really appreciate that. I really do, man. Thank you. Thank you very much. One of my stereos did get hit by the lightning, though my wife's happy because she's been thinking about trying to. Well, it's one of those Amazon devices. You basically tell it what to do and it does it. I don't know what it is. So we're going to try that in place of the stereo downstairs. So we're going to see how that works. Good time to test it out. But Dennis, I appreciate your help there, man, and I will make sure to replace the headphones because for any of those who are in voice chat with me on Discord, you all know I use my headphones to eliminate echoes and stuff like that. So for those who were in there with me today, I tried to keep the volume balanced down, and if it was echoing, I apologize. Thank you for putting up with my goofy ass. It's highly appreciated, as is all your all's support in general. And Dennis, my man, you are pretty much, I think you count a super fan because your support, man, you're doing awesome. I appreciate that. Oh, which that reminds me. If we make the 5K challenge, which is 5,000 subs by Halloween, not only do I have to do a stream in some kind of costume that my wife picks out, and Lord help me, some of the ideals she's kicking around in her head. And I did realize it was a bad time to shave my head again because did you know it's easier to buy goofy ass wigs for someone with a bald head? So that kind of backfired on me a little bit there. Matilda, thank you. Thank you very much. Free of electric charge. I appreciate that, Matilda. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You all are awesome. So Lord only knows what she can do. Now she's been talking about wigs. She's been talking about painting my bald head. So if you all get that 5K, I'm in a world of hurt here. But on top of that, 3 members of the Discord, as you all know, volunteered to purchase 3 Dragon Magic 101 courses, which we would draw and give out. But Dennis here last week, after hearing that in the stream, he messaged and said he also would be willing to add a course. So that would be 4 Dragon Magic 101 courses, 4 101 courses that we might be drawing for in October if we hit the 5K marker. So definitely, if you're watching this, share it around, tell people about the channel, make sure they're subscribing. And if you're not subscribed already, make sure to hit the subscribe button because I know a lot of people who do watch this channel are not subscribed. My analytics tells on you. Now, Halloween, I don't know that we need the head henna tattoo now. I don't think we need that. I don't think we need that at all. Because that's not something that just comes off easy. I'll be stuck with that for weeks. Yes, we do. Oh God, I'll be having to wear a bandana for the whole time until that wears off. That's still 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks. I technically agreed to one stream. Just saying. Just saying. But we'll have to see what Seffi decides, because technically speaking, she's the executioner here, as it would be, because she'll be executing the ideal. Oh Lord, Jesse, she has a friend, the makeup artist that she's wanting to try and get involved in these shenanigans, is a really good artist. So I could actually see them pulling that off. I really could. And that's a scary thought, because shit, I think my wife might actually be watching this upstairs right now. So she could be literally hearing all y'all's evil ideals right now. I just realized that. Yep, gonna be fun now, ain't it? Oh, hey, no sassing me, especially when I'm not there to tell you not to sass me. What's 2 weeks in the big scheme of life? Oh Lord. Hannah for the win. Oh Lord help me. Lord help me. Well, I guess that would ever let me know if I consider the idea of a head tattoo or not, what it might look like. But I've never been one for head tattoos, so I guess we'll have to see what Seffi decides on that one. Oh, and her friend Holly can do some good work on art, so woo! You guys got me a little worried on that one. So, but let's see. See, I have to laugh right along, because I'm trying to picture myself with that, and it's funny as hell. I mean, I'd be stuck with it for 2 weeks, but it'd still be funny, I have to admit. Let's see. So, yeah, the information on the face stuff is going pretty well. I have been working and catching up with some dragons that I haven't spoken with in a while, because, well, I don't really reach out and work with them too often, but considering we got the 102 class filming and getting ready, I got to reach out and catch up with them and all that fun stuff. So it's nice to do that. Been hanging out with the rulers. There's some talk about potentially doing a 10th artwork with the rulers, where we do a single piece that has all the rulers in their human form. The rulers are kind of debating on how they want that done. And I need to reach out and talk to the artist Sarah, which, if y'all haven't, make sure to go check Sarah out over on Facebook. Sarah McSquishy, because she's a great artist, and, well, you've seen all the artwork she done with the rulers. You added Halloween, you evil little shit. So if the rulers decide on how they want that picture to be done, I'm going to kick the ideal off on her and see if she'd be interested in doing that piece as well. So we're going to see how that goes if that happens, but that's a potential project we got working on. So, yeah. Other than that, well, I mean, obviously the storms and potential flooding and all those fun things, that's pretty much been my week with my research and catching up on some old research. And helping a few people untangle some of the questions and or problems they've had. So, been a busy and interesting week for me. Yeah, people, if you're here and you haven't already, smash that like button. Really, really helps out the channel. Speaking of which, I need more coffee already. And for those who are wondering, yes, all the coffee makers in the house survived. Luckily, I don't know what I'd done if my coffee makers had. Well, I do. I actually have plenty of ways to make coffee without electricity. So, I got to be prepared for survival situations. But luckily, all the coffee makers did survive. So, no hurting there. Yeah, we do. You got a lot of people in here. All right, cool. So that pretty much brings y'all up to speed on my week, other than smoking modems and beard shavers dying and all that kind of fun stuff. I do have a few people in the Discord server. They're doing a lot of work with astral travel, and some's kind of picking up and getting interest in soul travel. So I'm realizing I'm going to have to probably start talking about soul travel a bit more. Hey, Young Lion, good to see you, man. Welcome. Glad you made it. We got a full house up in here tonight. This is awesome, people. This is really awesome. Selena, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm used to seeing Selena with an E. Selena. Well, thank you, Selena. That's sweet of you to say. I will say any sense of wisdom you get from me is just because I've got a lot of years of doing stupid stuff. It's learned through hard knock college. It really is. As far as the trust, I speak the truth as best I know it, and I'm happy to admit when I find out I'm wrong. In fact, I enjoy being wrong. It's a chance to learn something. At least that's how I see it. So thank you. That's a very sweet comment, Selena. I appreciate that. Let's see. Is that Nagasi? Selena Nagasi? That's a cool name. I like that. If I'm not pronouncing that wrong, I do apologize. I do. You know what? Actually, Peachy, for that, I tell you what we'll do. We'll touch on that a little bit tonight. No problem. But let's actually moving it into a topic to over to the Magical Coffee Hour on Sunday. That way I can actually get a list of books and authors. Because right now, obviously, I'm not in my library or my office where my books are. And I can actually recommend a few. Because that's actually a topic that I do have a few books that I like to recommend. But yeah, we can talk on that a little bit here. Or we can just talk about it and I can post the book listings in the comments and in the Discord also. Let's see what we got here. Hey, there you go, Valerie. Listen to it while you work. Help pass that work along. Young Lion, yes, in the sense, yeah, the Leviathan is a water dragon, so yeah, Coralegra does fall over that. I know some people do view Leviathan as a demon, so you're going to get conflicting comments there. But every time I've spoken to both of them to try and get any form of gnosis to confirm that, it's always came back the same way. And I know at least two demonolators who they do work with Leviathan as an aspect of a demon, but when they studied dragon magic, they came back with the same gnosis, which I actually found interesting because I didn't think they would myself. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, technically speaking, it does appear to be so. For an American with a very bad Southern accent, Selena. Ooh, Norway. I got to get up there and visit Norway. I ain't lying. I want to get up. That's one of my go-to locations. That really is. So baneful magic, because I don't want to just pass over that question. Baneful magic is any magic that causes harm, removes free will, or actually can even lead to something such as death. So it is magic with a true intent to remove free will or harm someone. And we're not talking minor bad luck or something like that. We are talking full on, you intend true harm. And it's an interesting topic amongst magicians because on one hand, you got a lot of people who they're all right hand pathers. You never harm anyone with magic. You can't use magic to harm people. And for those people, I respect their opinions. But a person should also be able to defend themselves. This is true also. Hey, Car, I'm glad you found the channel. And hopefully you will learn some more about the supernatural here, because we definitely talk about it. Mathis, welcome. But one of the reasons that baneful magic is such a debated topic on those who will discuss it is because a lot of people consider magic in some schools of thought strictly internal, strictly psychological. Some even would go as far as just a placebo effect. So if you do a prosperity spell because you have faith or knowledge in the spell, it subconsciously pushes you to do the right things to get that prosperity. Well, in the case of baneful magic, that really shatters this whole paradigm because you can do a spell without anyone ever knowing about it. And then the exact thing that you basically worked your magic to befall the person does. So for some people, baneful magic is like the ultimate way to manifest and show the functionality of magic. On the other hand, it's also one of the hardest forms of magic because you have to have an absolute belief in your conviction. There has to be no doubt, no restraint, no hesitation. And most people do not have that type of desire to cause harm. And even when someone's wronged them, a lot of people still hesitate and wonder, am I going overboard or the like? So that does make baneful magic very difficult to do. Even to the point where if you manage all that all the way through the working, but it hasn't manifested yet, if at any point leading up to the manifestation, if doubt enters your mind, you can end up canceling out your own spell too. So it is a fascinating topic, but it is a hard subject in magic to do, and there aren't a lot of people talking about it these days, which I think is a disservice to magic. Y'all know me. I'm kind of a magic should be talked about, even if you don't think that particular area of magic shouldn't be used or it's not for you. I think it's good to talk about them and understand them. But no, there are actually some reasonable good books out there on baneful magic. And see, I can't remember the author's name, but I want to say his first name was Jason. And he had a pretty good book on it. But I will actually work to get a list of the books and authors together and post it below here in the comments, as well as try to post it in the Discord. Peachy, since this is your question, in the off chance I forget, because, I got hit by lightning. I tend to forget shit. Remind me to make sure that that's posted and I get that list together. And I'm also going to do my best to talk about that again on Sunday and make sure we read that list off during Magical Coffee Hour on Sunday. Dennis, that's actually a great question. Honestly, no. I've never really noticed any backfire to baneful magic. I know a lot of people say that it can, but I've never really noticed it over the years. Now, when you look at the laws of magic and you look at the energy you surround yourself with, now you do have to understand if all you do is surround yourself with baneful energy, though your spells themselves aren't backfiring, you're going to be bringing some bad crap down on your head. That's just, if that's what you're surrounding yourself in, that's what you're going to be bringing down on your head. So that's not backfire. That's just you spent too long swimming in the wrong pool, and you should have got out and cleaned up. And I know there's a lot of different schools of thought and philosophy on that. But me personally, and the magicians I've worked with, talked to over the years, who this is areas that they've talked about and debated. None of them have ever been able to actually identify actual backfiring. Depends on what you mean by astral battle, but technically it could. Kara, I understand that. I was actually raised Southern Baptist myself, and actually, eventually, I was actually a youth pastor and a Royal Rangers leader in an Assemblies of God church before I left the church and started studying magic. So I actually get your thing, and I've always had a very scientific mind, so curiosity has always been in me. And so even when I was in the church, I was always studying other beliefs and other ideologies. So it's always fascinated me. So I totally get that. Thank you, Peachy. I do appreciate you willing to remind me. Mathis, what would be a great way to get back into doing magic again and get motivated? Honestly, if you've already got that meditation routine going down, which is freaking awesome, by the way, congrats on that. I know you're saying 5-minute meditations, but that's still great. Look into doing some spell work 2 or 3 times a week and focus your spell work on things that you currently want. Even if it's, a bit more stability just to get you some more free time and the like. Start playing around with your spell work in those areas. Also, start working your spell work for things like prosperity. Not necessarily money, just prosperity in general, because you'll find out prosperity can also help open up that free time and also bring in that motivation for your studies and your research. It's really fascinating how prosperity can do that. Also, if you really want some super nitrous filled motivation, you can always talk to the ruler of fire dragons and ask him to help you with that motivation. You want some get up and go, he'll plug you in. He really will. But I've always found that anytime I kind of hit a lull, I actually sit down, make a list of what I want to manifest in my life, and then I focus my spell work on those. Anubis, man, welcome. It's all right. It's all right, man. I just appreciate you making it when you can. Valerie, that's a good question. Well, it used to be that Magical Coffee Hour was me and a co-host, Linda, from Caffeine and Chaos. And we both had a few computer problems, so we've not been able to do the co-hosted version. And it was a bit laid back and goofy, and she would come in with a topic and just start throwing questions at me at random and basically throwing me under the bus to try and answer these, which was a lot of fun. And once that was done, we'd also take viewers' questions during it and everything. But she tried to bring in a lot of pop culture too, in order to see what pop culture was accurate, what wasn't accurate, or how a pop culture concept would work in real magic. It was just really goofy, hyper. It was a lot of fun. And yes, we are trying to get things worked out so that Linda can come back. That's the reason I haven't renamed it, and it's just called Solo Sundays because right now I'm running it solo. But if you haven't, go back and watch some of the earlier episodes of Magical Coffee Hour. You will be in for a laugh because that girl is wired. She is off the wall hyper, which is actually pretty good. And I am working very hard to try and get her back. I'm hoping I can get her back. But between the computer and I do know there's some career stuff happening with her right now, which is good stuff. So we may have to work on the schedule on that. But those were the major differences. And I don't want to think about changing it because I'm afraid if I think about changing it, I don't want to manifest her not coming back because I really do want her to come back. But in the offshoot that something happens, we may have to adjust it a little. But we will keep a Sunday stream no matter what. But no, Valerie, go check out some of those earlier episodes and you'll get a laugh. Baneful magic, you mean like defense in the astral? Basically in the astral, magic it can be baneful because you can do a lot more in the astral than you can do in the physical realms. And if you're using it for defensive purposes, philosophically speaking, most people might not call it baneful, but that goes down a philosophical rabbit hole there. But I mean, you can use attack magic and damage magic in the astral, whether it be against entities or other magicians if you happen to cross them. Mathis, I do too. Ingus is a hoot. I love working with him. I really do. Best course of recharging after baneful magic. For me personally, I found the best way, and most of my students would agree with this. First thing you want to do is ground. And then you want to grab a shower, a good long shower. Cold or hot, whatever your preference is. I'm a hot shower guy. For those who take cold showers, I don't know how you do it. And when you're in the shower, actually, I mean, just do the full pampering shower. And then get out, grab you some food. I don't care if it's something healthy or unhealthy. Grab you a snack of something you're going to enjoy. You should just enjoy it. That's what you're looking for. And then grab a beverage that you like. Coffee is my go-to, which is also helpful because it's grounding. But one that if you're not a coffee drinker, you could go with hot cocoa. That's actually very grounding as well. So hot cocoa would be a good beverage. Or even warm tea can help with that. And this whole process is going to help bring that energy back to ground and also help you to, as it grounds out, you're also going to start to recharge your batteries a lot quicker. So after you've done all that and you've had your snack, then go in and do a meditation where you are drawing in energy and just recharging and rebalancing your energy. And you should be good to go. You might need a nap or a good night's sleep, but after that, you should be good to go. That is true. That is true. If you two target a magician or someone who knows what they're doing and they have protections, yes, there can be counterattacks. You need to be cautious about that. But, I mean, I was asked about backfiring, not counterattacks. But counterattacks are a danger that you got to be aware of. Because, I mean, any type of combat, you have to expect whatever you're attacking or aggressing toward, they can aggress back. That just seems logical to me. Some people, I guess, don't seem that as logical. But, yeah, that is correct, Mysterious. That could actually feel like a backfire. It's not technically a backfire, but could totally feel like a backfire. Oh, thank you, Selena. Thank you. I got quite a few of them, and I got at least 4 more I want to get. But I promised my wife she gets the next one, so. Let's see here. Make sure I'm caught up. What's the difference between an amulet and a talisman? This is honestly debated. It really is. Some people will tell you an amulet is a magical item that you create, whereas a talisman is a natural item that is found. But in most cases, depending on the tradition you're working in, they can even flip flop those definitions, or the two words can be interchangeable. So it really does depend on the tradition you're working in or the viewpoint you're coming at. But more often than not, I do see most people say amulets are something that's crafted or created as an item of magic, whether it be to help you empower something, whether it be protective. It's just something you craft or enchant. You may not even craft it, you may just purchase it and then enchant it. Whereas a talisman would be like those natural hold stones, or some kind of actual talisman that you can keep on your person or put on a necklace, that it in and of itself has some natural associations or abilities to it. For my personal practice, I really just kind of outside knowing the, I guess you could say, literary research definitions or viewpoints, because they switch up depending on traditions. I almost use them interchangeably, just depending. But then I tend to craft most of my stuff anyway. I'm not really one for wearing natural stuff because I'm always afraid I'm going to break it. So I tend to like to craft my stuff out of materials I don't think I can break. I've proven myself wrong a time or two. I don't know why you always trying to pick so many fights. Best way to get good at fighting in the astral is to do it. That's really about it. You have to actually train in your astral traveling, astral projection, and all that, and actually work on your movements and work on your thought processes, even. Because you got to understand, if you're actually tangoing with something in another plane, the same physics of combat, it does not apply. You have to be able to move faster than thought in that scenario. So the only way to do it is actually to get in there and get the experience under your belt, which can suck. Let's be honest, that can suck. My rule of thumb is attempt to be respectful, negotiative, and try not to be confrontational unless you have to be. So that would be my big thing, is to make sure that you try to avoid conflict, but honestly, the best way to get good at it is to just do it. And hopefully you don't have to do it too often. Salt can be used different ways, young man, and it can absorb energy coming in, which would also make it, a form of protection, but it would also help absorb work energy going out. So I don't really use a lot of salt in many cases because of that. And as a protection, I've never liked it because you have to have a solid barrier of it for it to work, and it's not reliable. So, because if the wind even blows it away or something, or ants, anything can break that line pretty easy. There's just too many workarounds. I've never been a proponent for relying on salt for those reasons. I'm not sure what Lion's Gate is, Will. Any spells for Lion's Gate? 8/8/2020. Is that an astrological thing? It might be astrological. Off the top of my head, I don't have any ideas, my man. Hiding his life. um, I don't follow astrological movements really well, so you might have to jog my brain on what's happening. And I could probably give you an idea if I knew the associations. But those, yeah, I don't have any ideas off the top of my head. I'll just have to be honest. I really don't do much to protect the intentions of my workings other than I don't really share what I'm doing. That's really the big thing. If they don't know I'm doing it, they can't stop it. And I also work on multiple levels, so I'm not always focused on one thing. I do work with different styles of entities, multiple types of entities, those kinds of things. And honestly, that whole keep silent thing, that really helps a lot. In most cases, if you're not just blabbing your mouth about, I'm working on this, I'm doing this, I'm trying to accomplish this, no one really tends to get in your way most of the time. And the things that do get in your way, it's more about just becoming a stronger magician to where you can power on through those initial barriers and vibrations. That really tends to be the way to go. So I can't think of anything specific other than just not talking about it that I do to protect my intentions. If I'm understanding that question correctly, young lion. Um, oh God, I knew somebody was going to ask me that eventually. The Fae Queens were pissed. They were pissed. By and large, the Fae realms themselves didn't experience too much, though there were some small ones, wee folk and whatnot, that did actually get hurt. Because even an untrained fool attempting something with intentions can occasionally accomplish something. So, right now, let's just say the physical realm's relations with the Fey realms are not on a good standing because of that. And if I was one of those TikTok witches, whether I believed in magic or not, I'd be a little worried because neither of the queens is happy or calm about that concept. And I know both of them well enough to know they're not going to forget it anytime soon at all. And they're going to take it out of somebody's ass. That's about the most that I know I can share, but they were a little surprised that so many people would actually attempt such a thing. And especially considering the Fae have so many allies across the plains. It wasn't a good thing. It wasn't a good thing. And if it wasn't for perhaps the smaller, innocent, weaker Fae that got harmed, it might have gone unnoticed. But the second you actually harm one of their own, it's noticed, and they're not going to forget it. Oh, I don't doubt that it'd be a good time to connect with energies. That's for sure. And I may actually have to look into it and see if I want to do any workings. Will, I appreciate you bringing it up. I wish. I think I've mentioned it a few times, but when it comes to astrology, that's one of my weaker areas. And I wish I had time to research, study, and just not cram everything up in this head of mine. But that is one of my weaker areas. At some point, I'm hoping to dive into that more. But I've always told you, if I don't know it, people, I'll be honest. And that's one I don't know, Will. Well, luckiest day. Now, I love me some luck here now, Valerie. So if it's supposed to be a lucky day, oh, yeah. I might have to call up on X Boone Well since he does that prosperity and luck stuff. Me and old X Boone Well might have some chit chatting. See if we can't get a better spin or roll on the dice for this year, people. This has been a bumpy year. So, yeah. Yeah, we might definitely have to harness some of that luck tomorrow. Yeah, the moon also got hit on that. It did, which has its own whole issue of problems. So let's just say humans in general did enough to piss off the other side. Which to this, I'm still trying to figure it out. That was just, it's crazy. And I know a lot of people's like, it's people who don't believe in magic. It doesn't work. So it wasn't even real. And I get that. I get where they're coming from, but intentions can still work even if they don't believe in them. Oh, that's good coffee. And in some ways, I think too many magicians wrote off the possibilities of something because I know some of the faith felt betrayed by the amount of practitioners who just ignored it. I can't say the queens felt betrayed because they're kind of more of it's they want to deal with it personally, hands on, so that's kind of good. But I don't know. That was a crazy event when I woke up and started getting messages and emails on that. I actually thought people were yanking my chain. I actually had to look at the calendar and see if it wasn't April 1st. I really did. It was that bad. I mean, I'm actually a little surprised it took y'all this long to bring it up. But what I know is as far as what can be done to help balance it out is just to focus on balance in general. That's basically the synopsis that I got from everyone I talked to on the other side, including the queens. So if you want to try and do your part to help, just do a little magic to help balance everything out entirely across. Well, they mainly said the physical plane. So. Well, Mysterious, I appreciate you doing that. I really do. And for the Fae, that I know some of them will know for sure you did it. And I am sure, absolutely certain, they are grateful as well. And yeah, I know it can feel silly sometimes having to do that, but sometimes doing the right thing feels a little silly. So I appreciate you doing that. I really do. Thank you. I'm not touching that one, young lion. I'll be honest. I'm not touching that. We don't do politics here. I see where you're coming from. But I'm not going to touch that one. We're just going to move on past that one. So, yeah. Some really good questions in here tonight. Whoosh. Yeah, that's right. Just whoosh. Like, move along. Nothing to see here. Oh, we all crazy up in here, aren't we? Think I need more coffee. Oh, Lordy. Oh, Lord. You know, you got a point, Mathilda, because if we was to stream some of the nonsense in there, that wouldn't be, I don't think we could stream that on YouTube. I really don't. We'd get in trouble so fast. Although I won't lie, there was one day I was listening. I was just sitting there quietly listening to them go on. I wanted so bad to just hit record and see what would happen. Multiple. Well, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes, I mean, I know she was talking about diving in deep and getting. I think she was wanting to do 3 parts of the Dragon Magic 101 class tonight. Which, I mean, y'all hear how I push myself, so what am I supposed to say? Just make sure you're getting done what you need done and making sure you're picking up the lessons. Don't rush through it, but other than that, you know, do what you got to do. Yeah, Halloween's right. Did y'all know that? Apparently, these nutcases were having a drinking game in the voice chat during the stream. So every time I said, what was it, coffee, and that's a good question, or something like that. See what happens when I leave them alone for just a few minutes? They lose their minds and go crazy. I know, right? I mean, how many times do I say coffee? And then most of these streams, I get so many really great questions that I'm surprised y'all walked down there. I really am. Maybe you didn't, actually, for all I know. But that is something, you know, I know I've mentioned this in Discord. I don't know if I mentioned it on stream ever, so I'm going to. It's good to actually have fun and do some goofing off like that. Too many people get into Magic, and they start researching, and they get so old fuddy-duddyish and take everything so serious, they forget how to have fun in life. Don't do that. Don't do that studying Magic. Always maintain that little sense of fun and joy in life. Always. Always be able to laugh. It's good for you. Kind of goes back to those episodes and videos we've done on self-care. On average, when it comes up, 3 or 4 per sentence. Well, you survived, Bernaldus. That's going to count for something. That young lion's trying to kill people up here. So, okay. Any other questions that we got tonight here? Oh, yeah. I probably should delete that, shouldn't I? Oh, yeah. Or can that be edited? Can you edit that on your end there, young lion? Well, Halloween, don't go getting yourself killed now. That'd be bad. Magic responsibly-ish. If you can't edit it, just let me know and I'll delete it so YouTube don't flag us or some stupid stuff. Oh, well, you just, yeah, that worked. Okay. Malango, are you asking what I wear? Honestly, if you look at my profile picture here on the channel, that's pretty much what I look like in the astral. I've got my leather trench coat, my hat. I pretty much look the same because I actually did train to fight in that outfit before, and I quickly learned that learning to fight and then trying to fight with a coat on was drastically different. So I learned I had to actually train in it, which made for some interesting sparring matches. But so, yeah, when I'm traveling the plains, I have that outfit on. That coat is a part of me. During these hot summers, when I can't wear it, I feel naked. I really do. So I'm really looking forward to when the weather cools back down and I can bust my coat back out. I miss it. Yes, yes, Bernaldus. Add that to the wisdom bot. Go ahead. That would be great. Thoughts on demons? You know what, Jesse? You're right. Bernaldus, make sure to add Stan Lee's quote up in there. That man was a great man and smart. That little Stan Lee quote is hands down a good one. My thoughts on demons. Honestly, coming from the background I did, I avoided them for a very long time. But due to circumstances, I was pushed into a corner where I ended up having to work with them. And I found I actually do enjoy working with them. As far as the whole concept of black and white, good and evil, it really doesn't work that way. They are chaotic in nature, not going to lie there. But they're also very eager and anxious to teach us. So I've never really had any issues working with any of them. Now, that said, people's like, well, what about the demons that attack people? Well, most of those, honestly, everyone I've encountered turned out to be a human spirit that is basically, a violent, angry, upset human spirit of some kind. Not what we would view as a true demon, but nonetheless dangerous. And, a crappy person in life can be a crappy person in death. What can I say? So me personally, I've never had any issues working with them. I've actually enjoyed them. So Paimon, Belial, Azazel, they're three that I tend to work with a lot, and I do enjoy working with. Let's see, who else? I did enjoy working with Nama when I was doing the Clefothic Path working, and I'm looking forward to getting back into that once I get the Dragon Magic 102 done. But I do. So I've never had an issue with them personally. Not me personally. I know everyone's experience is probably going to be different, but I just never had an issue with them. In fact, I found them to be very, very helpful. Well, with dragons, young lion, it's not about left or right hand path. It's about balance. So dragons can heal, and dragons can do magic to bring you selfish things, and they can actually defend, and they can cause harm if need be. You got to understand that dragons are focused on the balance, not good and evil, because the narrow view of black and white, good and evil, is something that dragons don't really go in on. They more focus on the overall balance. So if you're a left-hand practitioner, for example, and you believe that ascent can be found through overindulgence and experiencing everything to the point where you get bored of the physical realm, they're going to help you do it. They won't mind. Because somewhere out there, there's someone doing the exact opposite, which is letting go, disconnecting of everything on the physical realm, which is, so instead of overindulging, you're just not indulging in anything. And those are two extremes, but the two people would end up balancing each other out. So the dragons will help you follow the path you're seeking. They don't mind that. Mysterious, I wouldn't do that. The Fae actually do have a thing against iron, which still has iron in it. So I wouldn't do that, particularly to the Fae. I don't know how. I mean, I would think they might take offense to it. I'm not 100% sure on that. And if you did leave it, maybe stick a note in there, lets them know, hey, this is a gift. It has value to us. But just in case, wear a glove when picking it up. That might be one way to go around it, but you'd actually have to ask them on that, because anytime I've never left anything that had any type of iron or steel in it for that reason. That was exposed. I mean, as long as it doesn't come in direct contact with them, they're generally okay with it. But in that case, I probably just wouldn't risk that one, Mysterious. Hey, Pencak, it's good to see you. I'm doing all right from here. Yeah, I actually have worked with the lowest somewhat, actually quite a bit. I was honored enough to actually have a voodoo family train me in their family tradition. It's not something I talk about a lot because, whew, boy, does that get a heated topic. It really does. But I have worked with them. They are some entities that are very tricky to work with. They seem to be very particular on how they're approached. But now Papa Legba, I've always found him to be a very almost wise grandfather-like figures. How he's always come off to me. I know some people's found him a bit grumpier. I've never particularly found him grumpy, but maybe that's just my personality not picking up on it. But I've always enjoyed any time I've worked with him. The Doctor Strange movie. I'll be honest, I enjoyed Doctor Strange. I really did. Some of the philosophical concepts in there. I remember when I was watching it, I was like, the philosophical concepts seemed pretty solid. True, I do wish a lot of magic could actually function that way too. But I'd have to go back and rewatch it to do that review, Jesse. In fact, that might be a good idea for a magical coffee hour episode. Let me write that down here because that's actually not a bad idea. Kind of do a compare and contrast kind of thing. Also, give me a reason to watch the movie again. Hey, right? Got it. So, yeah. But I did actually find some of the philosophies in it pretty cool and pretty accurate, actually. Does what violate the rule of free will? It does. It gets on my nerves a little too, but I'll be honest. A lot of magical practitioners and pagans aren't much better. They've completely labeled them as right hand dark entities only. And the way we modern practitioners view right and left hand magic instead of the fact that magic is magic is really part of the problem. And I hope one day that somehow we can get over that hump. And you're right. King Paimon is awesome. Totally awesome guy to work with. You added those. Thank you, Bernaldus. We appreciate you adding those sayings. Dennis, that's actually a great question. In many cases, no. In most cases, most people will say there's no difference between sorcerer, wizard, mage. They will. Now, in some literature, it appears there might be a small, very small difference between mage and sorcerer. Honestly, mage and wizard are interchangeable. Myself, I tend to lean toward mage just because wizard's a little D&D-ish. Well, and then there's also all the Dresden jokes people already make, so I try to dodge that. But sorcerers, though they're studied, they do still have the study, the knowledge, and all that. They tend to draw more on emotion and passion and those kinds of things. Whereas wizards do tend to draw on raw will itself, and just strictly mind, logic, and just raw focus and discipline. But honestly, there's not enough sources to say that's accurate, because I know mages and sorcerers that both cross both lines. So at this point, really, I have to say no, there's not a difference. It's just more or less, what do you wish to call yourself? Um, but yeah, I would have to say no. Though I will say, even though that I do seem to notice people who use the term sorcerer do seem to be more, I guess, fiery and passionate in practice. But I've met quite a few passionate and fiery mages, don't get me wrong. Tell me about it, Bernaldus. I need me a sling ring to get around. I really do. That would be freaking awesome. Doctor Strange was a great movie, and I am looking forward to the second one. I really am. But I am going to go back and rewatch it so I can actually take notes and actually give my 2 cents on what I think about that a little better. Pamagus, I will honestly say that no, once you actually start working with the Loa, it's kind of a one-way street. And getting off that path, it can have consequences. It really can. Is it risky? Yeah. From everything I learned, I'll be honest, I stumbled into it and I foolishly agreed to training without knowing what I was getting into back in the day. And I'm kind of grateful for that, because had I known what I was getting into, I might have said no. As a beginner, honestly, no. Unless you have a really good teacher who can help you and lead you through it, I would not as a beginner. I would wait until you got a bit more under your belt, in practice and communicating and making sure things are going to go the way you want, as opposed to jumping in with them starting out. Um, that would be just generally me, because they're very particular in how you approach them, how you work with them, and stuff. And you can get in trouble with them. There's no doubt. So no, I wouldn't recommend them for beginners. Personally, there are people out there who might, but I wouldn't. But that's just me. Loa is actually the name of the entities and spirits that is worked with in Voodoo, Valerie. It's spelled Loa or Lwa. And in some branches, you also have Orishas. So there's so many different varieties, families, and branches of voodoo that it gets. But that's the entities they're talking about when they say Loa. And like I say, it's such a hot trigger topic these days. I just generally avoid that area of magic and talking about it. But I mean, getting asked a direct question like that, I want to try and answer it, especially in this case, because they are wonderful entities to work with. Don't get me wrong. And yes, with the risk, I would say they're worth it. But as a beginner, I wouldn't start there unless you had a good teacher. But later on, if you actually, once you get some experience under your belt, I'd say it's worth it. No, actually, I have not ever found the dragons judge any form of magic I do. In fact, I tend to find that they encourage me to study multiple types. And dragons really, really work well with Norse magic. In fact, that's a video I want to do, because I was a little surprised in a lot of the Norse writings that we have, which granted, we're, every one of the writings we have actually are older than the practices, or far younger than the practices, I should say. So a lot changed. In fact, there's a video another YouTuber done talking about how Nidhogg and Yarmungandr would have been worshipped highly, not villainized originally, which was gnosis that I also got before I saw the video. But you do see dragons very painted in a bad light by the time those are recorded. But I was surprised to find out the dragons actually do work very, very well with Norse magic and get along very well with those entities. And I've not really found a particular path of magic that dragons don't like. They're very curious, they're very knowledge-based entities, and where they do focus on the balance, they're willing to learn and work with just about any energy current out there. I've not found an energy current or magic that they don't work with yet. Part of me is wanting to say there's got to be one out there somewhere, but maybe there ain't. Maybe they're actually that entity that will work with anyone. And that I just have to say, up until I find it, that I've never found one that they're not willing to work with. Dragons do focus on balance and free will. So as long as the magic is being used in those areas, they really don't care. We're working with demonic go-to book. As to working with just demonic entities, I can't think of one. If you're interested in evocation, there's one that's included in the recommended book list that's called Demons of Magic. It mostly focuses on the Goetian spirits, but it's a pretty good entry level to beginners to working with them. But as far as a singular go-to, no, I can't really think of one. But I do know when it comes to wanting to learn evocation and working with these kind of entities and actually starting to learn the practice and create a change in your life, that is my recommended book because the author does a really great job of putting it in a beginner level kind of state and presenting it. So it's pretty good at picking up the ideals, at least. I don't know if I'd call it the go-to, if that makes sense, Jesse. Pigmas, that's actually a tricky one. Because there is the old saying that the lower themselves can initiate shit, but you do still have to be careful. So if you wish to reach out and talk to Legba, make sure you do have an offering for him anytime you reach out for him, and reach out to him to try and talk to him. And you also want to have his Vive, which can be found online pretty easily. And as long as you have an offering of some hard candies, some pipe tobacco, or some whiskey, something like that, and his Vive, anytime you reach out and contact him, you should be able to contact him and talk with him fairly easily. But make sure you do have something to offer when you contact him. Make sure you always approach him with respect. And if you agree to anything, keep your promise. Keep your promise. Do not forget. But yeah, as far as learning more about your cultures, he might be able to help you. So you might look into doing it that way and seeing if you can get some results. Because again, there's so many different traditions and everything. I don't want to step on toes there, but reaching out with Papa Leg, but just making sure that you do have those offerings ready when you do reach out to him should be at least a reasonable place to get some questions and answers, hopefully. It only violates free will if you screw with free will. I mean, punching someone in the nose doesn't hurt their free will. It just breaks their nose. I mean, dragons are very aggressive entities, and they have no problem with violence when violence is a just cause. And what justifies a cause, let's be honest, that gets very vague and differs, and you can have a philosophical debate about that for hours. So, no, baneful magic, as long as it's not tinkering with free will, in most cases, don't. And even in some cases, very, very, very extreme cases, sometimes temporarily tinkering with free will in order to stop someone, like, let's say, pushing a red button to blow up a city. Even if it just buys 15 minutes, dragons will usually be okay with that if in the long run it benefits the balance overall. So free will actually falls secondary to balance, but not in a long-term concept. Free will is something dragons don't overly worry about it because they know free will is going to win out in the long run no matter what. So if you were to, let's say, enslave someone's mind, it's only a matter of time before that mind breaks through, and then you're screwed, because that person's going to realize something happened. But no, they will. They're not going to help you just tinker with someone's free will unless on an extreme case, and I'm talking like massive, massive areas are at danger kind of case. But as far as baneful magic in general, as long as it's not affecting the will, yeah, they'll help. They don't mind. They all about some combat. So they will totally do the aggressive magics if need be. Awesome, Jesse. I'm glad that made sense. Sometimes I wonder if what I'm saying makes sense. So it's always good to know. Dennis, oh man, the one that works for you is actually the best answer for what's the most powerful spells to accumulate wealth. Everybody's looking for the wealth spell that's like a wish. I grant, you wake up and there's a bag of money on your porch. I don't know those. I've never seen them, and as far as I know, they don't work ever. You can just really do spells that help open pathways and opportunities for you to generate more wealth, or spells that bring you knowledge in order to do better in other areas, or help you get promotions and those kinds of things. But at the end of the day, some spells do work better for some people than others. And that's why I really have to say the best spell is the one that's working for you. And the most reliable one I've seen work for most people is the prosperity spell, that candle spell that's on this channel. Really does seem to actually work the best for most people. Grant you, it is a long-term spell, but it has pulled people out of bankruptcy to really financial stability, even financial freedom. And I've not seen anyone who's actually applied it and utilized it as laid out that it hasn't worked for. I have seen people who they did the spell once or twice and they gave up after like 3 weeks, which if you give up on a spell after 3 weeks, especially a long-term spell, that's not really the spell's fault. And then there's the fast money spell that seems to work really well for people who like just need quick money, whether they're going to a casino or not. Though if you're looking for wealth, fast money is usually not the way to wealth. What the heck was that? Okay, that's making noises. I don't know why that's making. I guess I'm a little jumpy from the lightning stuff. Okay, sorry about that, people. But yeah, honestly, the best ones is the ones that are working for you, my man. Oh, mysterious. No, 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 no. They have no problem with you casting spells that don't involve them. In fact, when I do a path working, that's a great example right there. Anytime I do a path working, if it's a path working someone else has developed, like Aznath Mason, her Clifothic path working, that's the one I'm using to dive in and start my studies of the Clifoth. I do not rely on the stuff that I already know. So I will not be working with the dragons as I go through that at all. I will be specifically following her path working to the letter to work through it and gain that gnosis and that knowledge before I go back and start tweaking and adjusting it to my personal practice and working with the dragons in it as well. So, no, they do not mind if you do things without them. They're totally okay with that. They really do not seem to, they're pretty chill. In fact, I've often found they like the day off. Like my two guardians, if I'm not working with them, they tend to just curl up in the corner and go to sleep. They're totally okay with it. Or they go play with the radio and start tinkering with the music and stuff like that. And as soon as they realize that we got one stereo down, they're going to get a little cranky, but that's okay. See. Uh, this is something we was talking about in Discord today, Pygmus. My view of Egyptian entities is probably not a popular one because I don't like worship. I think everyone here knows that by now. I don't like it in any shape, form, or fashion. And the Egyptian pantheon seems to be all about the worship, or at least it was every time I approached them. And because of that, we did not get along. We just did not. We could not work together. And me and Raw argued more than once on several occasions, actually. So I'm not too fond of the Egyptian entities on a personal level. That said, I know people who's worked with them. They've had great results with them. They're just not my cup of tea, man, or cup of coffee for that matter. As far as tips of working with them, uh, I don't. I really don't because, like I said, we just rubbed each other the wrong way. That I really don't think I have any tips other than do your research, go talk to them, see if the lot of you get along. And if you know someone who does work with the Egyptians, talk to them. That would be helpful. I don't. They're one of the groups I just never could get along with. It was just one headache after the other. So yeah, we didn't hit it off, and I honestly try to avoid them personally. And that's just a personal thing. That's nothing against them directly. It's a personality conflict. I have to make sure that's understood. But if a client or someone I'm working with does require it, I will go talk to them and work with them. Jesse, that spell's called hard work. Well, yeah, it does take a little bit of hard work, but it does help to have magic on your side. Because I'm actually one of those people. I did use magic to reshape my life and get to where I'm at. We were in the negatives every week, so it can help. It really can. And I'll be honest, if I do manage to come up with a wealth or prosperity spell that just boom, you got it, I will share it. I won't keep that stuff to myself. I will make sure y'all have it. Bo, yeah, I've worked with planetary squares. It's been years. In fact, one of the books I want to take the time to sit down and reread and go through again because it was early in my magical career, and you mature throughout your magical career always. So I'm actually wanting to reread Bromlin's. Crap! I forgot the title of them, but it's The Sacred Magic of Bromlin the Mage. I think is the title of it. But it deals with planetary squares almost exclusively in a lot. Well, at least one of the larger sections. So I'm wanting to go back and work with them again because it's been so long and everything's so fuzzy. So I am wanting to go back and work with them again, but it has been a while. When I worked with them, I did enjoy it, but my notes are crap at best because, again, I was young and stupid. But I am wanting to go back with what I know now and see, take a fresh look at it. And that when I do actually bust that book back open, that will be something I plan to talk about here. And I'm actually wanting to do a few videos on them as well. But when it comes to giving to charity, Dennis is a good man. I mean, Dennis has donated to the charity of Working Dragon Mystic and getting that info out a lot. I mean, Dennis, man, you're probably one of our greatest supporters. We are very grateful. Sleep well, Selena. Good night. Hey, Lauren. Good to see you're home. I hope you all didn't get flooded too bad or hit too hard, because if I remember right, you're in one of the Carolinas. And I know they got hit some pretty hard from that hurricane and the storms and stuff. Wait, what question did I miss? Hold on. I'm trying to find it. Selena, I'm trying to find the question that I may have missed. Yeah, I may have missed it. Where is it? Oh, there it is, what my necklace symbolizes. Oh, no, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. It's actually a Melnjorn, a Norse hammer, which, you know what? Here. But I found this one and I really liked it because, as you can see, it has a dragon on it as well. So since Norse and dragon magic are two of my primaries, this pendant, I found it and I just fell in love with it. I do have a smaller one that I wear, and whoop, done went and dropped it. We'll be fixing that after the stream. But yeah, it's just a Norse Melnjorn hammer with a dragon on it. So, but no, I don't mind that one bit. Sorry, I missed your question. Like I said, things do get lost up in the chat box for me sometimes. I apologize about that. Well, I'm glad to hear you're good to go, Lauren. Glad to hear it. We had some flooding, some heavy winds and stuff like that. So sleep well, Selena. Sleep well. All right. So we're already looking at an hour and close to 30. So we'll be starting to take the last few questions if anybody has them. We do have a new video coming out Tuesday. This one is strictly focusing on pact work and the myths thereof and dispelling some of them, because I've been finding I get a lot of the same questions over and over and over. So I just decided to compile a video to try and address all these questions so that maybe that'll help and get some good information out there on pact work, what it is, what it isn't. I know I've already done two, but apparently a third one was necessary, and that's okay. That's how we do things. We try to cover what we can, and when we realize what else needs covered, we do that. So we do have that coming. And we do, of course, we have Magical Coffee Hour this Sunday. It'll still just be a solo, because I don't know when we're going to get Linda back. May see if I can get an estimate out of her. We are still working on the Dragon Magic 102. I know at least one person was wondering where it's at in the school, and it's not on the school yet because we're still filming it. So I do apologize. I keep talking about it because a lot of people do like to know where I'm at and what I'm working on. So I make sure you do know I haven't forgot. We're still working on it. And yes, Halloween is correct. Halloween posted an August art challenge in the Discord. So if you're interested in that, pop over to the Discord. And over in the challenge bar, you can see the art challenge where a lot of people's doing the art challenge and incorporating their magic. I have not been able to join in on this particular one because I've been so swamped. But for those who have been sharing their work on it and everything, it's been absolutely gorgeous. And I thought it was an awesome challenge. I wanted to. Hopefully, I'll get to take part in the next one. Hopefully. Here's hoping that I get some more free time. And even if you're not interested in the art challenge, if you haven't already, do join us in the Discord. We're building a great community up over there. Sharing questions, research, thoughts, getting goofy if you haven't noticed that from some of the comments in here about Discord. Been a lot of fun over there. Let's see, anything else happening? Nope. I think that about covers the summary. So, do y'all got any final questions for me before we have our last drink of coffee and say goodnight? No? All right, cool. Well, if you haven't already, if you're watching this, do smash the like button. It helps the channel out a lot. I see we got 21 people in here and 16 likes, so I know some of you ain't hit that button yet. And if you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel and make sure you got the notifications turned on because, of course, you got to do both. Because we do have new videos every week and we go live at least twice a week where we come on here. I get on here and ramble about what random stuff I've got going on or has happened. And of course, I take questions and try to answer them to the best of my ability, which you all do bring me some really great questions. You do, and I appreciate it. So until Sunday, y'all, you take it easy. Keep your life going, stay safe, and keep working on that magic and keep shaping your life as you want to. All right? Y'all have a great evening. Good night.